I banned my dad's new girlfriend from seeing our baby after she didn't stop preaching God's plan, in the hope she could convert our son, but was this too harsh? For context, I, 26 feet, come from a Catholic family, but my parents decided not to raise me and my siblings as such, my father due to a crisis of faith he had years ago, and my mother because she hated practicing it. We were all baptized for our grandparents' sake, but nothing beyond that. We never prayed, didn't have any first communions, and didn't read the Bible. I didn't even set foot in a church until I was 14. I'm very grateful for that upbringing. Today, I'm agnostic, and I don't have a great relationship with the church. My husband's family is also Catholic, but he doesn't practice it. Our first child was born earlier this month, and we decided to raise him without religion. Neither of our extended families cared much, but we've been having some trouble with a few people over it. My father has been dating a Christian woman for 6 years. I'll admit I don't like her, but I don't dislike her either. Before I got pregnant, she wasn't the preachy type, to me, at least. She wasn't happy when I told her I was agnostic, but didn't try to change my mind. She did talk about her religion a lot and kept trying to get my father to engage with it frequently, but not much beyond that. Soon after I announced my pregnancy, my husband and I had dinner with my father and his girlfriend, during which she told us she knew the perfect place for the baptism. We said we weren't planning on baptizing our baby. And from that moment, she got annoyingly preachy to me and my husband. It was mostly indirect stuff, such as giving the whole family speeches about how glad she was to have Jesus in her life, but some were impossible to mask as unrelated. She gave me a decorative cross for the nursery at my baby shower, tried to make us all say grace during Christmas dinner, which we've never done before, with or without her, and kept bringing up a priest friend of hers who just so happened to also do baptisms. My husband and I stood by our decision. Fast forward to now, our baby was born a couple weeks early. He was pretty much full term, but we were all still worried. He's perfectly healthy, and we're all doing well. Yesterday, my father and his girlfriend came over to see the baby. While I was telling them about my labor and how it was at the hospital, she told me she had been praying for us the whole time, and that we should all praise Jesus for giving us such a beautiful blessing as my son. Unrelated to her previous preachiness or not, I lost whatever patience I had. I said, "You know what? I'm done. The more you talk about Jesus and religion and whatever, the less you'll see my child." She was quiet for the rest of the visit. After they left, my father called me. He told me he understood I was frustrated, but I shouldn't have been so rude to his girlfriend. He told me her intentions were pure, and she was only behaving like this because of how important religion was to her. I don't think I'm in the wrong for my feelings, but I am worried I was too rude. Relevant comments. Comment 1. Maybe remind your dad what's important to you. She can have her faith, but when she starts pushing that on others, that's her crossing boundaries. Response. My father tends to humor her when it comes to these things, which kind of surprises me, because she pushes her faith onto him more than onto us. I'm obviously okay with him doing that for himself, but not when it extends to me and my siblings. Comment 2. You're the asshole whether you are religious or not. For most people who do have a relationship with God, praying for somebody is them showing love. Your baby could have had complications and she prayed for him because that was the most she could do to help the baby. It's kind of bogus that you can't see her trying to show love only because you don't like the way she did it. That's weird. Response. I have no problem with her praying for my child. But that is something she can do without announcing it or expecting us to do the same. Especially when talking to a family she knows full well is not religious. Update. Hey folks. Update time. This might get a little long. I showed my post, along with your comments and my replies, to my husband. He told me he agreed I had been rude to my father's girlfriend, but thought she had pushed me to the point in which I had no other choice. He was actually surprised I lasted so long without saying anything. For the record, I'm not opposed to religion, or to Catholicism. I have religious friends, I've seen God spell, and I've visited churches without catching fire. One of the most beautiful places I've ever been to is the Metropolitan Cathedral in Brasilia. I've managed to endure preachiness for short periods of time. I'm just not religious. There are many reasons why I don't have a good relationship with the church, most of which I'm not comfortable sharing. I will say that I have been agnostic since I was a teenager, and people have been trying to tell me I'm wrong and I need to be Christian or Catholic for longer than that. I also live in a very religious country, which never helped my case. I have always loathed people who obsessively preach about their faith to others. I find it incredibly disrespectful and hypocritical. I wouldn't run around telling people what I think as an agnostic, and I expect my acquaintances to do the same. Sometimes, you need to be an asshole to get your point across. I wish I'd understood that sooner. I think I downplayed how stressful it was to deal with my father's girlfriend's behavior during my pregnancy. Everything happened a lot quicker than I expected. On Monday, my older brother informed me our father and his girlfriend had told him about what happened, apparently expecting him to take their side. He took mine, and they ended up having a short fight. I decided to sort this out with my father before it also extended to my sister. A couple of days ago, my husband and I called my father and his girlfriend to talk about the subject. I told her that as much as I appreciate how much she seems to care about our son, both me and my husband are uncomfortable with the way she's been trying to push her faith onto our family. We don't want to raise our son, as well as any other kids we have in the future, with religion, and we expect the people who will be part of his life to respect that. I told her that moving forward, we wouldn't accept any religious gifts, crosses, Virgin Mary figurines, etc., wouldn't entertain any attempts to make us pray or say grace, and would shut down any speeches about accepting Jesus into our hearts. My husband counted 7 in December alone. No more hinting that we should baptize our child, either. She is free to pray for us if she wants, but we don't want to know about it. We will respect her faith as long as she respects our boundaries. She remained quiet while I said all of this. When I finished, she asked, "Can't you at least put the cross I gave you in his room?" Not gonna lie, that was one of the most frustrating things I'd heard someone say to me in a while. My husband nearly lost his patience. I replied with, "This is exactly what we're talking about. No." The answer has always been no, and will always be no. And if you keep refusing to accept that, we will restrict your access to our son. It's that simple. We didn't talk much after that. She apologized, and we said we forgave her. Then we said our goodbyes. Later that day, my sister went to their place, and she said my father's girlfriend was very quiet and seemed upset. My father called me on his own yesterday, and we talked a little more about this. He did try to defend his girlfriend a bit, and if I had a coin for every time he said it's just how she is, I'd be very rich, but he mostly focused on apologizing to me. I accepted it. His girlfriend also texted me with another apology. She sounded more sincere this time. I told her I don't want her to think I'm doing this out of disrespect for her religion, I simply don't share her beliefs. She told me she understood. And this is it. I don't think this is over, but I feel like I've wasted more than enough energy for now. Part of me is still hopeful this will die its own death. Unless my father's girlfriend tries holy waterboarding me sometime soon, I won't update again. My son is happy, healthy and loved. That's all I care about right now. Thank you guys. I wish you all well.